Hello Geomaritim buddies, welcome to Parangtritis Geomaritim Science Park YouTube channel. Before we start, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Adina Prameswari. I'm one of the internship here in PGSP. In today's video, I would like to invite you all to dive deep into the world of sand dunes, especially Parangtritis sand dunes. So without further ado, let's get into it. First, what is the definition of sand dunes? Sand dunes are defined as sand moons formed by wind along coastlines and deserts. It can also be formed by water flow beneath the surface of river water. There are four sand dunes distributed in Indonesia. The first one is Tungtung Karang. The second one is Parangtritis that is located here in the Yogyakarta region. There's also Slopeng Sand Dune in Madura Island and Oe Tune Sand Dune in East Nusa Tenggara. And in this video, I will talk in depth about one of them, that is Parangtritis Sand Dune. Now, how can the sand dunes form here in Parangtritis? First, we have to talk about where these sands came from. The sand supplies came from one of the active volcanoes here in Yogyakarta that is called as Mount Merapi, as you can see there in the figure number 1. Mount Merapi erupted these volcanic materials like stones, like as you can see here in the figure number 1. Next, these materials then flowed along the river of Opak and Progo to the estuaries that ends at the south coast, or what we call here as Pantai Selatan. Then, the materials brought to the shore by strong waves. After dried by the sun, the smooth and light sands blown by strong winds from the ocean. The dunes will be formed where the beach is wide and also spacious enough to allowing the accumulation process to happen. Dunes will also be formed where the prevailing onshore winds tend to blow these light sands inland. Lastly, the wind that blew continuously in the area from various directions, changing the accumulated piles of sands into sand dunes, like what we can see there in the figure number 4. Now, sand dunes is classified by three things. The first one is based on their location, based on their vegetations, and also based on their shape. First, based on their locations, Lobeck 1939 categorized sand dunes into three groups: the coastal sand dunes, riverbed sand dunes, and also desert sand dunes. In Indonesia, we only have the coastal sand dunes because all of our sand dunes are located near beaches. But there are a lot more sand dunes, type of sand dunes out there in another country, but in Indonesia, we only have one type of sand dunes, that is coastal sand dunes. Second, sand dune also can be classified by the presence or absence of vegetations. Sand dunes can be divided into three groups. First is vegetation-free sand dunes. The second one is partially vegetated sand dunes. And the third one is fully vegetated sand dunes. Next is the sand dune classification based on their shape. They are divided into 6 types. The first one is called barkan. Second one is transverse. There's also barkanoid, longitudinal, parabolic, and also star. Barkan is the most unique and special formation among the others, as this shape is not usually found in tropical areas like Indonesia. The barkan type is shaped like a crescent moon, where both ends point in from the direction of the wind flow. The peak of the sand dunes in Parangtritis area has reached up to 31 meters above sea level, covering a total area of 412 hectares. Here are some of the unique features of Parangtritis sand dunes. Parangtritis sand dunes is a geological nature reserve, or they are also called as geoheritage. It is written in Kepka Geological Agency concerning determination of special region of Yogyakarta Geological Reserve. Sand dune in the Parangtritis coastal area is the only sand dune that has a distinctive shape in the form of barkan type. The active sand dunes in Parangtritis are the best developed coastal dunes in Southeast Asia. Next, I would like to talk about a little bit about sediment transport. What is sediment transport? Sediment transport is the movement of salt particles or sediment, and in this case, we are talking about sands here in Parangtritis. The primary process of sediment transport happens in 3 different ways: saltation, creep, and also suspension. Creep or surface creep happens where the force of the wind causes soil particles to roll along the soil surface until the wind slows. They are stopped by other particles. The saltation process is happened when the sand-sized material is bounced along the seafloor. And the suspension happens when the materials or the sands are lifted far above the surface and carried long distance, and this could be done by water or also winds. The agents involved in the sediment transport are wave activity, tides, storm surges, near-shore currents, longshore drift, and rip currents. In Parangtritis area itself, the most dominant sediment transport process is done by the surface creep method. Next, we are going to talk more about the unique features of Parangtritis sand dune. Based on historical value, the sand dunes in Parangtritis has an important role as one part of 7 urgent symbols in Keraton of Yogyakarta. Keraton means the palace of Yogyakarta. There are two kinds of axes here. The first one is the philosophy axis and also the imaginary axis. The philosophy axis of the Sultanate of Yogyakarta lies from number 2 until number 6. From number 2, you can see there's Tugu or Yogyakarta Monument. Number 3 is Alun-Alun Utara or North Square. Number 4 is Keraton or the palace itself. Number 5 is Alun-Alun Selatan or the South Square. Number 6 is Panggung Krapyak or also known as Krapyak Fort. From number 2 until number 6, this axis usually also well known as the Keraton Complex. The imaginary axis also lies from the number 1, which is the Mount Merapi, onto the Keraton Complex and ends in the south coast where the sand dunes exist. This is the belief of Yogyakarta people, where you are born from number 1 and you live in the Keraton Complex and then you're gonna die in the south coast. Like, it's a belief that is very, very well known here among the people of Yogyakarta. Now, what is the role of sand dunes? Sand dunes give ecosystem services to support human well-being and also increase resilience towards hazardous disasters such as strong tidal waves, saltwater intrusion, and also tsunami. The ecosystem provides multiple benefits called ecosystem services. Sand dune is one of the ecosystem that is able to provide ecosystem services to the people. Here are some of the ecosystem services of sand dunes. The first one, as I already mentioned earlier, it can act as a natural barriers for strong tidal waves and tsunami. Sand dunes can protect agricultural and also settlement area in northern part of the sand dunes. Second, sand dunes also can be used as a groundwater catchment area. Here in the Parangtritis beaches or in the south coast, we have a lot of saltwater intrusion. But with the existence of sand dunes, it can be prevented, as sand dunes can prevent saltwater intrusion and also store rainfall as a fresh groundwater resources. So the sand dunes act as a filtration for the beach water or the salt water, and also can storing those rainfall water as fresh groundwater resources. Next, the sand dunes also can be used as a nature laboratory for science explorations. It becomes a nature lab to explore multidisciplinary studies such as geomorphology, social, anthropology, agricultural, and also tourism sciences. Lastly, the sand dunes also can be used as a tourism object. The uniqueness of sand dunes can attract people to visit there and also enjoy the landscape and panorama of Parangtritis sand dunes. Here are some of activities that you can do here in the Parangtritis sand dunes. The first one is you can just enjoy the view, seeing all of these big sand dunes that is not usually, it's not a very, very normal thing to exist here in Indonesia. We don't have lots of sand dunes. As I already mentioned earlier, there are only 4, and one of them here is located in Yogyakarta. So for people to come here and do some sightseeing is a very, very unique thing for them to see, because especially it's located near the beach. There's not much of sand dunes located in Java, so it's such a unique experience for them to have. Second, you can also do sandboarding in the sand dune area. There are also a lot of other things that you can do, but I don't really gonna talk about that here. Next is some threats to sand dunes. So sand dunes is formed by sands, as we all know, and sands are very, very easily to be blown away by the winds. The area of sand dunes can increasing each year because of these threats, and some of them are written here. There are 6 of threats that is concerning the sand dune existence right now. The first one is reforestation. The second one is sand mining. The third one is agriculture and also livestock. The fourth is non-eco-friendly tourism, such as using ATV in the area of Parangtritis Sand Dune. The fifth is the growth of built-up area, and the sixth is garbage. All these six threats is very much alive right now. Most of them are happening very rapidly. You can see a lot of these threats going on right now in the Parangtritis Sand Dune area, and we have to tell people that it is such a dangerous activity for the sand dunes. This is the so as you can see here, this is the sand dune changes over time. As you can see, in the 1976, the condition of the sand dunes was still stable without any vegetation interfering with the transport of sand. But now in 2022, you can see the condition of sand dunes has overgrown with vegetation, which is indicated by the green appearance in the Parangtritis and Gumuk area. This is a real changes right now. It's a real time changes. It is a result from the activity that threatens the existence of sand dunes, as I already mentioned earlier in the previous slide. And this is more of really prominent changes over time from 1976 to 2003, 2010, 2011 until 2022. You can see there are a lot of vegetation now here in the Parangtritis sand dune area. Here are some native vegetation of Parangtritis sand dunes. The native plants of Parangtritis sand dunes have been identified by the Yogyakarta Environmental Government Agency in 2016. A plant is considered native to Parangtritis sand dunes if it is known to have existed since 1980s. Generally, native vegetation consists of small-leaved and also long-rooted plants, what we call as xerophytic plants. Native vegetation does not interfere with the formation of barkan dunes in the sand dune area. Here are some of the types of native vegetation here in Parangtritis. The first one is siwalan tree, waru tree, beach morning glory flower, tropical grass. There's also running grass, pandan tree, widuri flower or widuri tree, and also baby. Here are some of the native vegetations that is already here since the 1980s, and you can still see some of them now. You can still see a lot of them now actually, but it's not really much compared to how it used to be, because there are also some very invasive species of vegetation here in Parangtritis sand dunes. And here are some of the invasive vegetation. The first one is called coastal she oak. The second one is gamal. The third one is brown salwood tree. The last is cashew nut tree. It's not only just four of this. There are plenty of more invasive vegetation located here in Parangtritis sand dunes, but here are some of them. The coastal she oak caused a change in the ecosystem from dry to shady, green and wet, so that the I'm going to okay. So that the other types of vegetations, which previously could not grow in the sand dunes area, now could grow and thrive. The gamal tree, it is originated from the Central America and Brazil. It is planted to cover crops by the people here in that live in the Parangtritis sand dunes area. The brown salwood or acacia tree is introduced plant that is widely planted for greening the area. These plants are indicated to be invasive species that inhibit the growth of native species in the area. Lastly, the cashew nut tree is habitus that can reach up to 12-meter high. It is planted for the seeds to be taken by the people of Parangtritis. Now, the government already developing a policy to take care of the sand dunes area. It is regulated in Regional Regulation number 4 year 2011 in the Regional Spatial Planning or RTRW Bantul Regency year 2010 to 2023. In Article 65 of Regional Regulation for 2011, the Parangtritis sand dunes strategic area is included in the environmental strategic area. Environmental strategic areas are areas that have high environmental value and are considered important to be conserved, regulated, and also developed in a sustainable manner. The main objective of recognizing strategic environmental areas is to protect, maintain, and also restore ecosystems that are vulnerable and important for ecological balance and environmental quality. In Chapter 6, specifically in Article 65, Paragraph 4b, lies a profound explanation that said the strategic area of Parangtritis and dunes dedicated to advancing the frontiers of knowledge through scientific research and also development. So after we talk about the sand dunes here in Parangtritis and how it is changing over time by the threats that I already mentioned earlier, now we have to really take care and also preserve the Parangtritis sand dunes together starting today. That's all from me. Thank you for watching, and I hope you can learn some things from my presentation. That's it from me. Thank you and goodbye.
PGSP